Go!
Hello, everyone. Welcome. So my name is Magusz. First of all, I'm an artist, visual artist, but I also work as outreach grid manager for Remark, which is very related with this topic. And I also do curation and moderation. So that's why I'm also here, just trying to replace people. And please present each one of you. What you do, you are, whatever you want to say it about yourselves to the people.
Okay, I'll start. Well, my name is Viktor. I'm just someone social media, a founder of Stone Tigers and the host of the show Web3 Midnight, NFT artist with more than 30 sold out collections at this point across different blockchains. And I'm working currently as a content manager at Tone Foundation that is integrating directly with the Telegram, and it's get on board the next billion users to the Web3 and put crypto in every pocket.
I'm LC. I'm a crypto lawyer, and so I help all you builders in this space stay out of trouble and navigate whatever it is you need to do to be in compliance with whatever jurisdiction you're in.
Cool, thank you.
My name is Achim, and together with a friend Daniel, we have a Web3 consultancy agency, and we do a lot of onboarding, actually going out to companies and tell them what's happening out there and what they don't actually need to pay attention now, but also need to pay attention like in a few years, what's happening.
Yeah, that's an important point to already see the future and be a bit visionary. So I think we would start with a very simple thing to try also to establish a foundation. What is exactly decentralized identity? What do we mean by that?
I guess we will have different opinions. For me, a digital identity is basically I'm on the internet. I present myself. I have a profile. I have many profiles. That's the main problem. And maybe I also have some fake profiles. But it's my identity, simply digitized. It's me.
Well, I think I look at it from like a broader perspective of what is digital identity. I think there's a lot of agencies that want to prove veracity of digital identity for their country or for their jurisdiction for whatever purpose. But then I also think that there's a lot of reasons that you would want to keep that digital identity private, or you get to a certain point where you need to prove that you are real on the internet, especially as AI starts to take over and we enter this space of a lack of veracity, even if it feels like an authentic engagement, even if it sounds like a real person or it looks like you, the deepfakes are only going to get better and stronger. And so having the ability to authentically prove that that either is or isn't you is going to become paramount in certain scenarios. And so it's the idea of a digital identity and then who controls it and who's in charge. So ensuring that the proper way of verifying that digital identity is decentralized and not too controlled.
A very interesting perspective, guys. Can't wait to hear more. And also, I want to say on this topic, looking at our profile pictures, I'm the cutout sticker of an orange PFP guy because that's my Web3 decentralized identity. And how's it decentralized? Well, because it is on the blockchain. And then if someone else comes in and tries to say, hey, I'm this guy, I'm going to say no, because this image is on the blockchain since this day, since it was created, and that belongs to me. It's controlled by me, and this is my identity. And at this point, I believe it is a matter of building trust and associating that with a particular, not just image, but the identity on the blockchain, your wallets that represent you, your values. In my regard, it's just, it fell into the heart of so many people, this orange PFP guy. You can see that either on my ticket, either on the screen. But at this point, it's hundreds of millions of people that seen this image and they associate me with it. And this is completely decentralized approach. So if anyone gonna try to, steal this identity from me, they can, because in this decentralized way, people collectively agree that this belongs to the particular person. In this regard, me. And I think it is very powerful going into the future with that. So yeah, I believe that decentralized identities and the future of it is very, very bright. And reputation as trust is one thing that you have to associate with your name, with your wallets, the best to your ability.
But picking already on that, if I may, you say that it's yours, nobody can steal it, but that's not true. People can just take out the image, and this happens a lot. People just try to impersonate others to scam. So it's quite easy actually to do that. So the question then is, how do you really prove that it's you there and not a scammer just impersonating you? And it can be also for other ones to answer.
Actually, I just wanted to add, because you pointed out to your PFP, and basically, in most cases, like on the, I know, serious platforms, that's my PFP. But like on crypto social web, it's an ape, it's a mutant ape, it's Achim, but it's also myself. So when I said previously, I have many identities, but still me, it depends on where I am, and it also starts to confuse people.
Yeah, I get it. But then getting back to this, so then you prove, because a photo, but even the photo, people can also take the photo and impersonate you.
Absolutely.
So
how
do we pass that level then to be able to really create trust and people know that who is talking on the other side is the real person and not an impersonator?
Yeah, well, that's what I mentioned and what I meant when I said that we need to associate wallets with the identity so that it would be easily verifiable through the blockchain that this is indeed the wallet that controls that. This is indeed the person that this identity belongs to. So in this example with your ape, right, if you keep it on Ledger and everyone knows that this is your ledger, right, you have it somewhere on your page, now people can actually check that this is actually truly your identity. And if someone else put the same ape, everyone would be like, hey, that's fake because that's not in this wallet. I know the person that it is having the control over it. And then how do you ensure that the wallet is linked to your particular page? Where with OpenSea, for example, you could link your social media. So, you know, it's your wallet, you link up your Twitter, and now everyone knows that this wallet and this Twitter is one part. It is a part of the same identity. That would be one of the ways to ensuring that.
I think that leads us to like a really interesting place, and this is where Web 2 leans into Web 3, because you just link to your Twitter, right? But that's like legacy Web 2 stuff. And so either way, you're pulling in Web 2 to add to your legitimacy, and there needs to be a more eloquent and, you know, UI UX friendly solution to verifying this. And I think probably in the next 5-10 years we'll get there to a more savvy product that solves for all of these things, because this issue is only going to become more important. But there's multiple levels to it. So you have no problem connecting that NFT to your Twitter, to your identity. But there are scenarios where I want to prove that I am real and I am me, but I don't actually want you to know that it's me, Laura, or me, LC, you know? I want you to have comfort to know that this is a true interaction, or this is a true connection, but I don't need you to know exactly who I am. And that's where I think ZK proofs kind of get exciting.
In what way? Then expand a little bit in ZK proofs, since you mentioned.
Well, I'm definitely not. I'm the lawyer, not the tech guy, so I'm sure you all can school me on this. But I think just the ability to provide an assurance on both ends through the mechanism that is autonomous and, you know, the smart contract that executes that to say, like, this is real, this is verifiable, without exposing so much of your information, is going to transform and allow us to push forward into that new digital identity, because digital identity is all that's going to matter in the future. We know this because Meta has already quantified it. They know that each profile is worth about $536 US each year. They've already done the math, so you know that that's so important to them. And Google and Twitter are fighting for that one-click login that every website's making you log into now. Why do I need a login for every website I engage with? This is getting ridiculous. So I think the narrative is going to a digital identity. It's just a matter of who can solve for that quicker, more savvy, more eloquently. And I think in a digital space with a true digital identity, allowing for decentralization where you control your data, you're able to control how much that other side is really gonna know, that's the next level of innovation, and that's where this tech is really going.
Definitely, I agree with you. And you were saying before that actually you have also different identities. So in this case, there's also a challenge to try to segregate them, no? To really understand that this is the person behind all this. And I agree with you, because I also feel sometimes that it's important also to have this separation. Like if you are in LinkedIn, maybe you want a certain profile, but if you are on X, another profile, they score the same. So how do you try to congregate everything to be just unique in part of you?
Well, actually, it's a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it's nothing different than in real life. Like how I talk to guys here, it's much different than I talk to like customers and corporates, and much more different than I talk with my deepest friends that I have for long years. So basically, I do the same digitally, but it's always like a manual step very like a work, like I said, and like in real life, it's more or less easy. So I don't know, I need a digital dashboard in addition to my digital identity, and then like decide, okay, this is LinkedIn, it goes this way. This is X, it goes this way.
Yeah, I agree, because it's also very related with what you're saying, also the way we dress. Because, for example, maybe if we go to a corporate meeting, we dress suit and tie, and we try also to present a different way and talk with a different language also. So the digital form is just a different way to express, definitely. But then regarding also the trust and how we build this reputation with our digital identity and trust, which kind of solutions you already know or foresee that can happen?
Well, I guess in terms of trust, the time is the best method to judge by, because the more time passed by, people could see the results and impact of your actions by, just confirming that on the blockchain. Another thing I actually wanted to mention, the ZK technology is very important and it is very interesting in its core. And to explain that briefly as well, I wanted to say that imagine that there is both parties agreed that this is a real human, so that would be equal to 1. And then within the ZK, that would just say that this transaction is legit and that both parties agree to 1. That's it. That would be the zero knowledge proof and a great solution as well. But in terms of trust, I think it's more based onto the reputation that you acquire along the journey. Because when you're just starting and you're no one, you're a small profile, you haven't done anything for any community, you just came into crypto and NFTs, it is hard to acquire the trust. But when you've been around for a minute and people saw what you did, saw your actions, they check your wallets, they check the blockchain, they can say, okay, this guy done XYZ good for the community, he did also that and that, we could trust them to some degree. But in terms of into the future and how could we decentralize that maybe in the manner, I believe we still need the tools that got to be invented and created for us to have a little better overview of those wallets, all those personas or those identities to be more trustworthy or less. What, for example, DEX tools done, right? You could vote as a community member for the meme coin. And the more people vote, the higher the rating goes. So that's one way to acquire more trust, by people actually voting for it in a decentralized manner and then creating more or less transparent way for you to understand, is there 80% trust or 10% trust based on the scale of 0 to 100?
Yeah, not trying to pull a little bit about the work I do, but at the same time doing it, because Remark, the company that I work, actually has got some tools already that can help with that. Because we develop different NFT standards that allow for different things. For example, one of them is to have soul-bound NFTs, and that they are bonded not only to wallets, but to other NFTs. So if you have, for example, in this case, Viktor, that you have this digital identity, that it's an NFT, then everything that you do, you can gain new soul-bound tokens that can be attached to that digital identity. So I would say that, for example, if you are in a community and you make some action, you get rewarded with this soul-bound token that shows then on your profile, And this is a way of people getting engaged and showing more. I was having a nice conversation actually this morning also about that. How can we make this grow? How can we make this way of digital identity to gain this reputation, to show exactly what we are as a person, not only related with our transactions on the blockchain, but with actions, by being here together, it's easier also to get to know each other and to understand, okay, this person has got this kind of personality, has got this kind of attitude. How can we transpose that also for digital realm?
Tough question.
Yeah.
I'm not the one to answer it. Does any of you have an idea?
I mean, I think it'll come with innovation as people start trusting or leaning into digital identity. We still are at such a friction point with the idea of digital identity, which is why no one player in the game has really taken control. And you're seeing, Twitter and Google and Microsoft fight for that one-click login. No one's winning that race just yet because people are still a little confused by it. It's still a little clunky. So I think as people realize how important digital identity is, then these things will start to come where it's like, okay, well, I get digital identity, now I want one. How do I build on it? How do I create reputation? How do I add value to my digital identity and also engage in a way that benefits me? Because it's got to be beneficial or it's got to be entertaining. It can't be not one of those things. So it's either got to be super entertaining, like TikTok, or super valuable, where it gets me into something, it gets me access to something, it gets me credibility in my community. And I just don't think we're there yet, because no one's really leading that race. They're all competing for what it really looks like, and no one's defined that.
And actually, I hope they don't win the race, because I don't think they should be the one identifying that I'm a person and I'm a and
exactly.
That's
I don't want them to win. It's just you have to be aware of what Web 2 is doing, because that's where, there's still the big players. They're still setting a lot of the tone. But as Web 3 digital identity starts to truly add value and be more eloquent and be easier to use, now we're talking a true digital identity that people can get behind, and even governments can get behind. Because how great would it be for you to have your government or some sort of jurisdiction acknowledge something digitally, instead of just giving you, like in the US, you have to file your taxes and you get this like PIN number emailed, and it's a really clunky system. But it could be a lot more smooth if we had a way to do verifiable digital identity. So the first Web3 company to partner with government entities will probably win the race, because they'll set the tone, and then it'll be easier to adopt along the way.
Yeah, and for example, I'm an EU resident in Estonia, so it's the closest that I think the government came to give me like a digital identity that I can use. And I want the government to give me a soul-bound NFT to identify myself.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a very good example. In Estonia, the EU residency is really showing that you don't even need to come here to make it. You can do it online. And then, of course, you need to make UIC, because they need to know that you are a real person. But once that process is done...
That's absolutely right. That's important.
Yeah.
That at least there's one contact. You cannot do it completely digitally, unless you get like a soul-bound token, like with your birth.
But even that, I don't know if you were in an executive day. I actually saw a panel about that, about your residence, and the lady was explaining that actually she had a baby, and then she registered also online the name of the baby, and she registered the father, and then the father gets a notification saying, hey, somebody flagged you as the father of this child, so please confirm. And this is a way of also digital identity and trust. No? You wanted to say something also, Viktor?
Yeah, I wanted to say, there's the platforms, for example, inspect.xyz, which is showing you the top influencers on Twitter, for example. I believe that would be cool if those type of tools also incorporated where people could vote for those influencers, so that we could see not just their rating, but their reach, but also the trust that the community have toward them. Because every decentralized identity, right, in any identity, is important to find a way to measure. As with SBT, soulbound tokens, it is a great initiative, but then it adds up the complexity, because everyone needs to go either claim this, or you need to send them, right? Where if the community could just vote, and then collectively maybe it's tens of thousands of people doing that, that would simplify this process. And then let's say if you have maybe 10,000 people voted for you, you could get the SBT token directly airdropped to you. So that would say, hey, this person already voted by 10,000 people that he is trustworthy. And that would be another verification point. But at this point, a lot of those platforms haven't yet integrated those ideas. I think we're slowly moving there. And it's very interesting that you're building in this regard as well. I'd love to learn more after our panel discussion. But I think for inspect.xyz, guys, if you're watching this, please implement the voting. We need it. Thank you.
On that note, I can tell you also two examples. One of them is that actually we tried a use case in Polkadot system to try to foster a little bit more about governments. Because the most votes that exist nowadays, also with DAO especially, the whales have much more power than the others, because it's a matter of tokens. So we wanted to incentivize people to vote, and that doesn't matter the number of tokens you have. And so we start providing rewards with soul-bound tokens that were not bonded to their wallet, but to another NFT that they own, And the number of votes increased 50%. It was crazy. So I think the reward is a good system. But picking also on what you were saying about voting on the person, we don't have a voting on the person, but we also have an NFT standard that allows to react with emojis on an NFT. And again, if you have your digital identity as an NFT, then people can react with there. And for example, if you are a developer and then suddenly you have a thumbs up from Vitalik, maybe this already also raises your reputation and your trust. What do you think about this system? Is it something that also could be implemented in future, and you see a potential on this, or it's something that doesn't make sense at all?
Actually, I think those are nice concepts. We had recently had something not similar, but somehow like on Farcaster. There's G-Money created a group. It's called Human. And there were only people in the group that had his POAP and now his nines, that they met him and scanned him, and they were only allowed in the group to prove that they're humans. And so, like, if you're in that group, it gives you some kind of cloud, I don't know. And it's also like a more gameful take on verification, but I don't know if this is the right way.
Yeah, I can see it going. I think we're there in a lot of ways. People already add credibility by liking, by reposting, but I think the whale issue is also problematic. If someone carries more weight, then it's really not a true neutral system. It's just following, like what you're seeing with meme coins. Like there's insiders and they win, and then everybody else kind of follows along and kind of loses. So we don't want to create a world where that replays in digital identity, because there's just more at stake than your fun like meme coin bags, right? So we need some system that addresses a true equal playing field in a way that doesn't imbalance because people are more liked or because people are more influential. And I think that's where ZK becomes powerful. I think it's also where not everything is doxed about you, or not everything has to be doxed about you. I don't need to always associate someone's online identity with if I'm in this group or not, or you have to separate out certain aspects of it. I mean, there's times when it matters that I am who I am and I'm in this group, or I have this NFT, or I'm weighing in on this particular issue in this DAO. But aside from that, maybe I am just a number, and it needs to be like a vote, and no one needs to know that like I voted that way. And so we need to have a system where we contribute and anonymously, but then sometimes it might matter that we have an identity, and that identity means something.
Yeah, but picking on that, that's related actually to human behavior, and that's how we perform in society, even not non-digital. No, because if you have a friend of a friend, then you get a connection, and maybe you get a job. Or if you know somebody in a bank, then you're going to solve the problem that you were trying to solve for months, but then suddenly you have the connection. I think that you are saying in that sense, it's not only digital. We need to change then the culture and the paradigm of how we behave in society, so that transition can also happen. Because yes, we still have some circles that have much more influence than others, and we're still going to have some people that are going to have always much more power than others, and we need to also deal with that. How do you feel that's the way?
I think overall that in this aspect, there is a lot of development need to be done by the curious people that are in the Web3 and curious developers, because it's good that we start to talk about that right now. But if we start talking about that 2 years ago, maybe at this point we would have more things already implemented, more ideas being built. And a lot of people think that innovation happens on its own. It doesn't. It takes one curious person, you personally sitting here in the audience right now. It's you getting curious about a particular subject and building something, learning how to do it, because those things never been done before probably. And I think we need to figure out the way how to incentivize people to have this desire to actually create this, to actually move forward with this progress, to create these inventions. Because otherwise it's going to be very challenging for us, where we're going to run in a lot of issues with bots and AI. Like I believe, just as my previous speech, right? AI going to be taking over the world. There is a huge AI pages on social media right now that literally stating that they are AI, and all the page managed by AI, and having millions of followers. I don't have millions of followers. What the hell, right? How do we ensure that all other 30 million would be a real legit people? So we need to be developing a little bit faster, not just having ideas, but creating and implementing them. That's one thing that I believe would be very crucial for our future as well.
Definitely, I agree with you. And I think there's already some things being developed. I think normally they are just not so loud sometimes than
they should be.
Than the rest.
Get some marketing team, guys.
Yeah, than the rest what is happening. But with that, I was remembering, I think we talked this morning also about this case of a guy in the bank that got an email from the CEO saying that they needed to transfer like 1 million from the bank to another bank outside. And they say, I cannot answer now, let's make a Zoom call. And actually had a Zoom call with all the colleagues, but they were all AI. So in the end, the guy was scammed. He took out money from the bank, but it was all fake. So how to distinguish also if you are really talking with a person or AI? And I think it's also related with this digital identity and trust. What we're gonna need to do to separate this, and also related with your speech before. What tools do you envision, or what innovation do we need to create?
Have you heard of the world coin? Because that's what they do. They make you scan your eyes and everything, and they associate you with their system that you're a real human. I think we need something like this. I don't see the world
I don't
without
want
it.
that. But
Yeah, I understand you. I don't want that either.
You
But
did it?
but then what is the solution we have, right? To actually separate real people from the fakes, from the AI. Because it's going to be hard. It's going to be a very hard journey. And I believe there is going to be some human-like proof where scanning your eyes is quite a good proof. I mean, AI so far cannot replicate that as good.
Yet, yeah.
Did you do it? Did you do it? Scan?
Not yet,
I
because that's
I did.
awesome. So you get some world coin for it
Well,
too.
I can't. And yeah, you get WorldCoin each month, and it's an interesting. I mean, what they're doing is really interesting because it will matter. Proof of human will matter in a digital world. It's especially as the rate of AI grows, and certain people are going to be hurt by it sooner than others. We're already seeing, unfortunately, like women have porn being made about them and it's not them, and there's no way to be like, that's not me. Like, how do I show that that's not me? And it's going to become very important very quickly to address that, to show like that's not me, because I'm me, I'm human, and this isn't human, this is other. And differentiating that is going to be part of the narrative sooner than later, unfortunately, because of things like that. It's always the manipulations and the bad actors that drive that, and hopefully the technology will be able to address that sooner.
Yeah, and CAPTCHA, it's not solving a problem also. I don't know if you saw the podcast
The
of
bot
Lex.
can solve it.
Lex
I have seen
Friedman.
so many examples, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the podcast of Lex Friedman with Mark Zuckerberg, that he actually asked Mark Zuckerberg to fill in the CAPTCHA to prove that he's human before they started the podcast.
And he failed the first try.
Yeah, but curious about it, you said that you did that. You went to the WorldCoin.
Yeah.
What is your vision behind that, and why did you decide to do it?
Actually, first of all, I did it because I'm curious, just wanted to try it out. Second of all, it goes into the lines of what you said. Actually, they're doing something, they're creating something. I don't know if this is a solution, but at least it goes into the right direction, in my opinion, and I want to be part of it, and maybe I can learn something, maybe I can create something myself. But
Sure.
I need to experience it.
That's a good try overall. I think that's a good experimenting. And I also see that our time running off.
Yeah.
So guys, if you will have questions to ask that you will want to discuss, come over once our talk is over. I think that would be fair if we all just get a last take before we head off the
Definitely.
stage. So let's start with you.
Well, thank you for having me, BananaConf, and my fellow panelists. If you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm Learned Chaos on anything with the username: Twitter, Farcaster, Instagram, Telegram. Reach out. I usually respond.
Okay, yeah, I'm also thank you for the good moderation, for jumping in. And it was nice to see that we more or less all agree that into the direction that all this needs to go. And if anyone wants to talk to me, you can Google me. I'm pretty easy to find, and like with the beard, you figure me out. Otherwise, on crypto social, it's an ugly mutant ape, but with my name.
Thank you a lot once again, guys, for tuning in to listening to us. My name is Viktor. I'm just someone, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I hope you learned something new. And if you got any questions or want a sticker, come over to me. I'm going to give you a couple. With that said, Magusz, thank you so much.
And yeah,
thank
please interact with these people. I always feel these conversations are very short, but that's why we also have moments outside to meet and to talk more. For sure, we're going to still extend a little bit this conversation in other topics. Thank you, everybody, also, and thank you.
Thank you. Clap your hands.